In the ancient Inca Empire, young runners were chosen to become the emperor's messengers, known as chasquis. Among them is Kusi, one of the fastest runners in the empire who is about to have his first child. He rushes home, where he is greeted by his friends who congratulate him on his big day. What's more, they show him that a fox-shaped constellation has just appeared in the sky, signifying the birth of a boy who will become the next chasqui. However, when the village sage comes out of the house, he announces that Kusi has just had a daughter. The runner is disappointed by the news, because according to Inca law, only men can become chasquis in the empire. Nevertheless, the wise man advises him to enjoy this moment of joy, so Kusi goes to see his daughter, whom he names Kayara. Years later, Kayara becomes a young runner and wanders the streets of the city, when she meets a young man called Palu. He turns out to be the emperor's son and is trying to tame a llama as a rite of passage to inherit the Inca Empire. However, Palu can't control the animal, which gets angry and attacks him. Kayara then takes Palu to the top of a tree, and as soon as the llama leaves, he thanks her for her help. The young man is surprised to discover that the girl is the daughter of the great Kusi and asks Kayara to introduce him to her father. The girl accepts and takes Palu to a huge cornfield, where the two find Kusi running towards the emperor's palace. The pair try to follow the runner, and at first Palu takes the lead in the race, but Kayara easily overtakes him. Eventually, the three of them reach the palace and Kusi hands the emperor a necklace called a quipu. These necklaces serve as coded messages and the emperor calls everyone inside, but when Kayara tries to follow them, the Oma village priest forbids her, as only chasquis can enter. The girl is furious, because she knows that according to the laws of the empire, she can never be a messenger. Later, her father returns home and tries to comfort his daughter, as he knows about her dream of becoming a chasqui and how lonely she has felt since her mother perished. He then gives her a necklace made of shells and shows her the legendary star that never moves in the sky. According to Inca tradition, whoever looks at the star and draws a line from it will see constellations in the shape of animals, which guide the chasquis to find their destinies. Kayara can't see these constellations, but her father tells her that one day she will. Years pass and Kayara is walking down the street when she comes across a vase moving on its own. When she looks closer, she finds a small guinea pig, which is being used by a group of chasquis in a dispute. However, on seeing the frightened animal, Kayara helps it escape and takes it in her backpack to the top of a mountain. Once there, the girl gives him the name Wari and the two spend the rest of the day together, sitting around a campfire. At one point, Kayara looks up at the sky and sees the constellations in the shape of animals, gathered around the star that never moves. The next day, the girl rushes to tell her father about her discovery, but he brings her bad news. The Inca emperor lost his life that morning. On hearing this, Kayara rushes off to find Palu, who has been appointed as the new emperor. Palu is happy to see his best friend again, but the priest prevents him from talking to her, as the young man must now behave like a real emperor. The young man doesn't like this, but soon takes advantage of his new position and makes an announcement to all the villagers. Palu tells them that in 3 days' time there will be a running challenge, where the winners will be chosen as the new chasquis of the Inca Empire. Kayara sees an opportunity to fulfill her dream and goes to talk to the emperor in person. Upon entering the palace, Palu meets up with her friend once again, while the priest looks at the young runner with contempt. During this reunion, Kayara asks to take part in the race, but Palu replies that it won't be possible because of the empire's laws. The young woman is disappointed by this, but when she sees a golden mask in the room, she sneaks it and leaves. When night comes, the girl is with Wari at the top of the mountain when she hears someone calling for help. With her agility, the girl easily slides down the mountainside and finds a young runner, whose leg is stuck in a hole. Using a tree branch and a stone, Kayara manages to free him and the young man introduces himself as Tunupu, son of the Chasqui Baku. He said he was training for the big competition and Kayara said she was going to take part too. On hearing this, Tunupu mocks the girl, saying that because she is a woman, she has no chance of becoming a messenger for the emperor. Kayara is furious, but this provocation only makes her even more determined to win the competition. Finally, the big day of the race arrives and Kayara goes to the palace, hiding her face with the golden mask. Shortly afterwards, Tunupu appears and recognizes Kayara, saying that he will reveal her secret to the emperor. Kayara is not intimidated and warns the man that if he tells the truth, she will tell everyone that a girl saved the son of a chasq, whose leg was stuck in a hole. With no other choice, Tunupu agrees, and then Emperor Palu appears in the palace, announcing the start of the contest. The challenge consists of taking small wooden statues to the mountain by the lake, exchanging them for gold statues and returning to the palace. Finally, the 3 runners who arrive first will be named as the emperor's new chasquis. With everything explained, Palu releases a bird from its cage and the race begins. Kayara gets ready, but before she can move, Tunupu cheats and puts his foot in front of her, knocking her to the ground. As a result, the young girl is left behind, but she doesn't give up and runs at full speed. Throughout the race, Tunupu and the other competitors try to cheat each other by pushing and pulling each other's ears. Seeing Kayara, one of the runners tries to elbow her, but she persists and runs as fast as she can to catch up with Tunupu. Hours pass and Kayara sees a mountain ahead in the middle of the route. Together with Wari, she starts climbing the huge stone wall, only to run into Tunupu, who, in yet another dishonest move, steps on the girl's hand and she falls off the huge mountain. At dusk, Kayara wakes up next to Wari, and the two of them find themselves in the middle of a cave filled with crystals emitting a pink light. The spirit of a llama appears before them and guides them towards a rock wall, which soon opens up to reveal a shortcut. On leaving the cave, Kayara sees that the other runners are camping in the forest and decides to seize the chance to catch up. The day dawns and Kayara continues running, until she comes across another mountain, with a small shrine at the top. When she gets there, she meets a guy who is waiting for the runners to change their statues. Kayara is happy to discover that she was the first runner to arrive, and once she has picked up the golden statue, she heads back to the palace. Back in the city, Emperor Palu is waiting in the corridors when the priest offers him a cup of drink. Palu accepts, without suspecting that Villa Oma has hidden plans to dethrone the young emperor. Shortly afterwards, the first runner appears and everyone is surprised, as no Chasqui has ever arrived so quickly. Kayara continues to hide her face with the mask and hands the golden statue to Palu, who announces his first messenger. The priest, however, becomes suspicious of the runner, and in a surprise attack, removes his mask in front of everyone. With that, the whole farce is revealed, and as well as being expelled from the competition, Kayara is sent to the palace cells. Later, Palu goes to see his friend, saying that he was forced to leave her in prison because of the empire's laws. However, he knows that the young woman deserves to take over as Chasqui, but before he can do anything about it, the emperor starts to feel ill and falls unconscious to the ground. At the same moment, Villa Oma appears at the prison and accuses Kayara of having attacked the young emperor. The guards then take Palu back to his quarters, but Kayara is worried about her friend and thinks of a way to help him. So, using pieces of thread from her clothes, she assembles a quipu and asks Wari to take it to the palace shaman. The guinea pig obeys, and as soon as he meets the shaman, he hands over the necklace with a message that the emperor is ill. The old man goes to Palu's room, where he finds Villa Oma, and on examining the emperor, discovers that he has been poisoned. The priest says that this can't have happened, as Palu hasn't left the palace, but the shaman insists that if something isn't done, the emperor will lose his life in 2 days. His only chance of saving himself is through the seeds of the Lapuna tree, located in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. Faced with the emergency of the mission, Palu uses his last strength to order Kayara to bring these seeds, even against Villa Oma's advice. Kayara is then released from prison, and after the shaman tells her everything that has happened, she decides to go after the Lapuna tree as soon as possible. However, the priest warns her that if she fails, she will pay with her life. Without hesitation, Kayara accepts the mission, and before she leaves, the shaman warns her that only the people of Biro village know where the tree is. The girl then hurries to find the village, and on the way, she comes across a huge wooden bridge over a huge cliff. To make matters worse, some of the pieces of the bridge are broken, but Kayara doesn't care and jumps over all of them, making it to the other side. The journey continues and the young girl sees a group of blue butterflies, indicating that the Biro village is nearby. Along the way, Wari gets hungry and goes to look for insects inside a tree trunk. Kayara doesn't like the idea very much, but as there is no food around, she is forced to try the insects when she is attacked by a warrior from the Biro village. She narrowly misses being hit by a spear, but soon finds herself surrounded by more warriors, who take her to the village leader. Meanwhile, the priest takes advantage of the fact that the emperor is incapacitated and uses his power to appoint the new Chasquis. Kusi is at the palace and asks what has happened, but Villa Oma only says that the emperor is ill and Kayara has gone after the Lapuna tree. Fearing that his daughter might be in danger, Kusi decides to go after her alone. Back in Biro village, the village leader asks what Kayara is doing there and the girl says she is looking for the Lapuna tree to save her emperor. However, the leader doesn't believe her words and orders the warriors to throw her into the well. Kayara insists that she is telling the truth, until she sees a necklace around the leader's neck, with a stone similar to the ones she saw inside the cave. The woman asks how she knows about the stone and Kayara explains that she saw several of them in the cave and was guided by a luminous spirit to the exit. Upon hearing this, the leader realizes that it is the spirit of Apu, a divine entity that protects the Biro village. She then orders the warriors to release Kayara and apologizes, saying that her tribe was almost wiped out by an intruder, known only as Black Toad. This name came from a tattoo on his arm, and the leader says that this guy tried to take over the village, but the people rebelled against him. In revenge, the intruder poisoned the whole village, but thanks to the Lapuna tree and its seeds, they managed to save themselves. Kayara finds this story very similar to what happened to the prince and asks the village leader to take her to the tree. Once there, the girl tries to climb the huge tree, but its trunk is too slippery. The young girl then comes up with a plan, and tying Wari to a rope, she throws him towards the fruit of the Lapuna tree. Thanks to her accurate aim, the guinea pig reaches the fruit, collects the seeds and brings them to Kayara, who can now save her friend. The leader congratulates the girl on her efforts and presents her with a necklace containing the sacred stone to protect her on the way back. Kayara thanks her for the gesture and runs as fast as she can back to the palace, because the sun is setting and Palu only has one more day to live. In the evening, the emperor is deteriorating rapidly, while the priest is celebrating, as he will soon become the new leader. To his misfortune, Kayara appears just then, carrying the seeds of the Lapuna tree. She quickly gives them to the shaman, who prepares a medicine and gives it to the emperor. The young man then recovers, and with his crown returned, Palu returns to his throne, and as a reward for her courage and determination, he appoints her as the new Chasqui of the Inca Empire. As her first mission, Kayara must take quipus to the leaders of the other villages. With no time to lose, the young woman runs as fast as she can, leaving her messages for the leaders, but none of them accept the necklaces, showing an expression of discouragement on their faces. Kayara is confused, but when she goes to deliver a message to another leader, he tells her that the villages are in need and need help. The young woman replies that Palu didn't know that, so the leader hands her another quipu to inform the emperor about what is happening to his empire. The girl accepts and continues her journey, when she sees 3 travelers going through a long desert. They say they are hungry and Kayara gives them some of her supplies so that they can regain their energy. The travelers thank her for the gesture and say they need to hurry to deliver a very important cargo. Kayara finds this suspicious and asks what they are carrying, but they say that it must be kept secret and set off into the desert. Seeing that there is something shady going on among the villages, Kayara decides to disobey a law and reads the quipu intended for the emperor. According to the message, the villagers are leaving because nothing has grown on their land and the gold is being taken by Villa Oma. The girl doesn't understand what Villa Oma is up to and tries to think of an answer to unravel this mystery. During the night, the girl looks up at the sky and remembers her father's advice to always be guided by the stars when in trouble. Kayara then looks up to the star that never moves, asking to find some answer from the heavens. Suddenly, she remembers the necklace with the sacred stone, and when she looks through it, she can see a huge constellation in the shape of a whale. The young woman believes that this is a sign that the gold is being carried away by the sea, with the constellation pointing in a westerly direction. Kayara decides to follow this same direction, and hours later, she finds the Sea of Mamacocha, known to be the Inca goddess who controls the waters. While exploring the place, the young Chasqui woman sees Spanish soldiers transporting chests of Inca gold to their ships. Kayara tries to stop them, but is surrounded by 2 more warriors, who are on the side of Villa Oma, the emperor's priest. With his betrayal revealed, Villa Oma orders his men to arrest the girl and take her to the Spanish ship. Kayara tries to resist, but the soldier throws her bag away and takes her by force to the ship. As soon as the ship sets sail, the soldiers throw the girl into the hold, where she meets Kusi, who has also been taken prisoner. Then the priest appears and Kayara accuses him of being the Black Toad, the same one who poisoned Biro village and almost eliminated Palu. The traitor finally reveals his real intentions to control the Inca Empire with the help of the Spanish army. After explaining his evil plan, he leaves the girl stranded with her father, and Kusi reveals that he was captured while following the stars to find his daughter. With the 2 of them trapped, it's only a matter of time before the Inca Empire is overrun. But there is still hope, and Wari, who was inside Kayara's bag, manages to sneak onto the boat and appears in the hold to help his friend. Using his sharp teeth, he frees Kayara and Kusi from their bonds and the 2 of them go up to the deck, with the girl going to peek into the captain's room. Inside, she sees the priest talking to the leader of the Spaniards. Villa Oma asks the Spaniard to keep his promise to let him keep the Inca city, along with half of all its gold. The captain agrees, but his real aim is to destroy the city and the Inca Empire completely. After hearing this, Kayara, Kusi and Wari jump off the ship and swim back to shore, while being chased by the soldiers in their dinghy. Kusi, however, is too weak to continue, but his daughter leaves him leaning on a log of wood and goes to face the soldiers alone. Despite this, Kusi ends up fainting and begins to sink into the sea, when a huge humpback whale appears and rescues him. Meanwhile, Kayara tries to overturn the soldier's boat with all her strength, but she can't and is captured and taken back to the ship. The next day, Villa Oma and the Spanish conquistadors set off towards the city, taking Kayara as their prisoner. As soon as they see the Inca palace, the captain orders the army to prepare their weapons for the attack, but in a moment of carelessness, Kayara manages to escape. The priest sees the girl fleeing and advances towards her, armed with a sword. Thanks to her agility, the girl dodges the attack and uses the blade to cut the bonds on her arm. Despite this, the villain continues to attack Kayara, with Wari jumping in to help her friend, but he is thrown and falls unconscious to the ground. With nowhere to run, the priest tries to eliminate the girl with his blade, but is stopped by Kusi, who uses a slingshot to hit the man with a rock. In addition to him, more Inca warriors appear, and with their slingshots, they set off to confront the Spanish soldiers. A fierce battle breaks out and one of the soldiers tries to strike Kusi with his sword, but he hits back with a sledgehammer. The fight continues and Kayara tries to escape from Villa Oma, but she stumbles to the ground and the villain prepares to deliver the final blow. However, Kusi once again saves his daughter by tying the priest's neck and throwing him away. The battle between the Inca warriors and the Spanish soldiers intensifies, but out of the mist emerges Emperor Palu. He sends his reinforcements to help Kusi and Kayara, with more warriors and llamas advancing against the enemy army. This provokes the fury of the Spanish captain, who, on seeing Kayara, decides to get rid of her with his bare hands. He chases the girl up the mountainside, and in the middle of her escape, Kayara tries to hold onto the edge, but the Spanish captain knocks her over the cliff. Palu becomes enraged and sets out to confront him, but is easily disarmed by the captain, who draws his sword for the confrontation. Nevertheless, the emperor finds a spear on the ground and the two begin a duel to decide the fate of the Inca Empire. At the same time, a luminous energy begins to surround the entire mountain, causing the rocks to split and dividing the Spanish army. Soon afterwards, a huge boulder rises up behind the captain, bringing along Kayara, who, using her father's staff, hits the villain with a blow to the head. Palu and Kayara are reunited once again, but they have to hurry because the mountain is getting further and further apart. The two get on a llama and try to jump to the other side, but just as they are about to slip into the hole, Kusi pulls them back. With the mountain separated, the Spanish army is forced to retreat, while the priest tries to escape. To his misfortune, Kayara picks up the slingshot and throws a stone, knocking over a huge boulder that blocks the exit. Unable to escape, the traitor is taken back to the city to answer for his crimes. As for Kayara, she returns with Palu, Kusi and her people, sure that the Inca Empire is protected. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.